Maira Miranda. So, Maira, first of all, welcome and thank you for taking the time. I'm
Thank,
so grateful to have you here.
thank you, thank you.
Um, and so, first question is, who were you before the you that you are now?
Ooh, straight away a deep question, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's really interesting because I had the phases, right? I'm 30 years old now, and I had the phases up to 10 years. I I was the the child that was not really playing much. I wanted to be older and to I was not really enjoying my childhood. I was not really present. And it was always for me, when am I going to get older? When I'm going to, be older? I was always trying to escape from where I was. Then from my 10 years old until I was 19, it was kind of a continuation of that cycle of trying to be somewhere else. And that
Mhm.
was enhanced by my brother and I moving with my father. And really, I didn't know at the time, but that was really heavy on me because I was always um, having this burden on myself that I have to do things and I have to do things on my own and I cannot count with people. As much as my father, because my brother and I, we decided to stay with my brother, as much as my father wanted to give us the best, we knew that he was struggling. So for me, it wasn't that he didn't want to give us, the best. He was really doing his best, but for me, it was not enough, and I knew that he was struggling, so I would not ask him for help. And my
Mhm.
choice as a kid was, if I want to get somewhere, I need to do it on my own. I need to be by myself. I need to work. I need to work hard. That put a lot of pressure on me. I started working when I was 15. I mean, I was a happy person, but it's still deep inside that built a lot of trauma. Then on my 20s, I moved to London when I was 19 by myself with my own money that I saved since since I was 15. I started working. I was already saving because I wanted to, leave home. Moved without speaking English. So I really had to start when I moved to London. I really had to start from the very bottom. And on my 20s, it was all about work, 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 study, 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 and trying to figure out the way. I really didn't have clarity, and I was all over the place. I was trying different things and really didn't know who I was. My sense of identity was really messed up. I think also all the things that built up on the previous 20 years was really taking on me as the sense of I was not good enough, that I could not count with anybody, that I didn't have anybody around me, nobody liked me, all this. I think a lot of us have this, and but always I think deep, deep, deep inside, I always knew that I could do more. I could more, and I was always trying to find the answers. Okay, this is not good enough. So what is it going to be, right? And then always seeing every step of every stage that I was going through. It was really this appreciation that this is teaching me something, and I now I'm moving forward and always moving forward and moving forward. I trying to accept where I was.
Mhm.
Not all the time worked like that easy.
Mhm.
But it was a really, really, really beautiful journey. Now, when I look back and I integrate all the pieces, it's like, wow, I really cry out of happiness. I really see how every experience that I went through, like every trauma I went through, they brought me something that now I can use for my good, for to strengthen me and say, you know what, I'm so happy that this happened because
Mhm.
of that I do this is that differently. So yes, there are many different layers in terms of relationship, in terms of my own confidence, in terms of business, money. So there are different areas that, well, I mean, everything has changed in the past, I think, 2 years. It really started a big shift through, holistic practices and so on.
Mm, so
Oh
beautiful.
my God, that's
Thank you for sharing.
so much, right?
Yes, yes. There's so much, and that's why I love unpacking this because to even go into, like you mentioned, worthiness and kind of the perception that you had of yourself. Where did that where do you think that stemmed from for you? And why do you think that seems to be an underlying scenario for so many of us?
What do you mean? Eh, Can you
So
rephrase this?
you were talking about unworthiness, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how you felt that unworthiness. So where do you feel like that unworthiness, that feeling of unworthiness came from initially for you? And why do you think so many
Yes.
of us deal with that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a great question. Definitely from parents, in the sense, not so that my father was amazing and I was the youngest. He really treated me really well. My mother was, I mean, now I have a great relationship with my mother as well. But at the time, she was going through her own process. She didn't know how to show love, and she was always angry, stressed, work, and money, and this and that. So I think, and also there was this issue when I moved with my father, and I had to. We moved to a different city, and we were living in my grandmother's house for a while. My brother and I, and my father, my brother, and I sharing a room in my grandmother's house. And my grandmother, when I was 11 years old, she wanted me to be the woman of the house. Like, she was Portuguese, very strong personality. And
Mm,
she wanted me to look after everything, after my father and my brother, like I was a grown up woman. And the way how she wanted me to do that was not in a caring, loving way. It was very like, you you are not good because look, you don't know how to do anything. But I was like 11 years old, and until that time, living with my mother, she was taking care of me. Of course, she was protecting me because I was just a kid. So I think I had to grow up really fast, and having those experiences where I didn't have time to learn things with love. It was always was a bit, you know, there is no option really. I think this is where it came from. Definitely from family. That this hurt my feminine a lot. My relationships with women for a long time. I didn't have many girlfriends. It was always hard. And only 2 years ago as well, I really came to realize how those experiences when I was a kid impacted my relationships with other women, not just my mother, but also with friends. And now I'm really restoring this part, so it's nice.
wow, that's so beautiful. What like so you mentioned some of the kind of the struggles, the obstacles. Um, are there any kind of are there any other times in your life that really stick out as wow, like that was a kind of a defining moment of me overcoming something that um, maybe you didn't even think you were going to be able to.
Definitely moving to London. Definitely moving to London. I think now looking back, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I done that, because I didn't have my any support, financial support from my family, right? And I moved to London 19 years old. It was the first time I ever got to a plane, was to move to London by myself with my own money that I had to leave for 1 month. It's like, and I never asked for money for my parents since I was 19. So like now I look back and I said, I don't know if I would do it again, you
Uh-huh.
know. And I was planning this for 3 years. For 3 years, since I was 15, I was saving my money. I was putting on a spreadsheet, month by month, how much I would save, how much I would enjoy life, go out and things like that. I was still living with my father, and then saving every month, like, okay, and then okay, this month I have this much, this month I have this much, and then in 3 years time, because things don't happen overnight, right?
Mhm.
After 3 years I was able to then finally make it happen and really make this move, which was the best thing I've done in my life. So
Wow. So you've
mhm.
mentioned a couple of times 2 years ago. So what shifted for you, or what really changed 2 years ago? And how did you identify that a change was needed?
Mm, that's interesting. Although I didn't want to go into this topic, I think it's going to be inevitable. I was engaged for 5 years, and I was in a relationship. That was nice. There was friendship. We had some very good thing, very good points together. But I knew that I was not fully myself. I could not expand and I could not take the risks that I wanted to take, that I really, all the expansions and all these things that I believe, that I wanted to believe it and I wanted to experience. And I knew deep inside that that was affecting other areas of my life as well. My career, my goals, my aspirations, my projects. It was just pulling me down. And then at some point, I did a family constellations therapy. It was like a four sessions group therapy online, and this mentor specifically, she's unbelievable. And I think that really started showing me the hidden dynamics of the unconscious decisions that we make, in
Mm.
relationships, in business, how we communicate, and all these different elements. And by becoming aware, I was I had the courage to say, you know what, I don't think this relationship is for me anymore. I'm walking out, and I don't care about the, sometimes the fears people have in terms of relationships.
Mhm.
Uh, but we have this together, we have this or that, whatever it is. It's like, I don't care about this. I know where I came from. I know I did it once. I can do it again. I don't need anybody. I think this is the kind of mindset. So I just broke up with him. Then, like, it was pandemic still. London barely had work at the time, so it was like a crazy period for me. And I said, you know what? I would just do what my heart. I started being more aligned with my heart. They said, you know what, I'm sure I'll figure out. It always worked out for me.
Mm.
When you take the decision that really resonates. I just took the decision, and then things just started flowing from there, because then I was really able to take my own decisions, experiment, go to the places that I really wanted. And I mean, the journey just started there through these family constellations, but then many other experiences followed.
Beautiful. What other tools did you use during your transition, and what do you use now?
uh, it's like I do like this. Is this a symbol for, let me take the list, because I um one of the reasons I talk about the Wowness Club and the platform is because I've I've had so much healing through different practices that is difficult to point to one. But family constellations was definitely a good starting point, because it showed me, and I did the different sessions for different purposes, because it allowed me to become aware about not to just, and that's a lot of people think that family constellations is just about family. but it's also about how you see business, how you see money, and how you see friends, and how you see everything. So really, when you start understanding about family constellations, about these dynamics, and how you know, the relationship you have with clients, how you charge for your services, and how you value yourself, this is really powerful too. Then, I mean, really, there are many experiences. Human design was another tool that really helped me to take all these pieces and do something with my pieces, basically. Because
Mm,
I had a lot of guilt in the past for trying so many different things. I was thinking at some point, like, okay, I'm all over the place because I've tried so many things. Like, how come, you know, I cannot focus in one thing? And, you know, people, when we talk about business, they say, oh, you need to be very good at one thing. And for me, it was always a struggle because I'm passionate about everything. You know, I
mm,
love
mhm,
business, but I love the holistic, and I love breath work, and I love human design. And then at some point, I really went through human design. My profile, I'm a generator, which means I have a lot of energy. But there is a subcategory, and I'm the investigator. And what that means is that my nature is to go through life, you know, collecting information. And how can I pass this information, right? How can I serve the world with all these different things that I've learned throughout the years? So
mm,
only at that point what I was able to really integrate all the pieces and said, you know what, I'm I'm great. I'm fantastic. I'm glad that I've done all this. Look, now I know all this. You know, so I think I was able to shift something that I was seeing as a burden, that I was punishing myself for trying so many things. And now I'm like, no, I would do something good with this. Like, you know, enough is enough. And then
mm,
I could really shift. And then that's when things started really shifting, the idea of really taking decisions that are aligned, knowing how to identify, is this the right decision, is this for me or not, learning how to recognize this in my body. From that time I started making choices that align, that just, you know, brings me more things, and yeah, like proper manifestations. Also, of course, I did the plant medicines, but I don't know if we should say that the whole
yeah, why not?
other. What else? Then really now in terms of tools, something, things that are a bit more practical in terms of the here and now that I use, you know, on a day to day. For example, I've been doing a lot of access consciousness questions, the powerful questions. You know, when you really connect, close your eyes in meditation, but just how can it get better than this? You know, it's because what they say, if it's bad, it can get better. If
Mm,
it's good, it can get even better. So
mhm,
you just keep it open question with the universe. So you are co-creating. How can it get better than this? Or just really this affirmation that, you know, everything that I need is coming to me and is flowing to me gracefully and in happiness. And I'm not sure in English exactly because I do it in Portuguese, but I just do these affirmations to reinforce that it's already good and it can get better, and everything that I need is coming to me, and I'm not even, there are things that are coming my way that I don't even know. People are being prepared, and I'm okay with that. So I think it's just um, this kind of gratitude that things are already happening here now, and they are just getting even better for the future, if that makes sense.
mm. Yeah, it does, absolutely. What would you say, or what advice would you give to somebody who's they're in their stuff and they're not even really aware that they need to change? You know, I find usually it takes some sort of a catastrophe for people to be like, oh wow, like I really need to change some things, whether it's health or somebody passes away or, you know, something to really shake somebody. But if someone is out of balance in their lives, and they're maybe they're peak performing with regards to money, but their health or their relationships are suffering, or they're not very fulfilled in their life. What would you say to somebody like that? Like what tips of awareness could you give somebody to be like, actually, yeah, maybe I do need to make some changes?
Yes. This brings me to a story I shared the other day on my Instagram, about my father. So basically, the reason why now I take so much action towards my health and towards improving was because of my father and the way how he lived his life. Right. I would just check quickly. So my father was always, he was very smart. We were super in a bad situation. I mean, he had instructions, he had a degree, but since I was a kid, he was always in health problems. He was always in hospitals. I would see him taking pills and being hospitalized at least once a year for like different problems like diabetes, different things, and smoking and the sedentary lifestyle. And then we would see this year after year, and we would try to say, stop trying to just work, stop trying to just like build a business, just start looking after your health, really start enjoying life, stop trying to accumulate, right? And then unfortunately, when he passed away, it was very tragic because he was on a wheelchair. And even though his mind was really active and was really good, he broke his hip. He was in a wheelchair. He had to be fed. He was really depressed. And the way how I see this in my life, and the way how now I said the other day, how I chose to reframe this is that we need to do things while we can, because when we can't, it's too late. So do something. If it's not through love, you're gonna have to do it through pain. And I say this also to another friend that she was a bit overweight, not eating well, not exercising, and then I kept saying, you need to look after yourself. Let's go and train. I tried to train her a few times. I tried to, give nutrition coaching, but she was just not ready, until a point that she started having a lot of health issues. It started with kidney stones, but then she stayed almost a whole year, like out of work, just going through different procedures. And that was really painful for her relationship, for her kids, and it impacted all the people around her. And only now she feels ready to start something, because she had to learn through pain, and she really cannot really work if she doesn't start exercising and doing things, right? So I think it's always better when we are proactive and say, do something now while you can. If you have energy, if you're still moving, do it now. Don't wait, because sometimes when something hits you, then it's a bit harder.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, don't wait for the pain. Start
Is
and be proactive. I love that. Love that.
Yeah. Why do we wait for the pain, right? I think it's better
Mhm.
if we take proactive choices and decisions. I know it's hard, and I know sometimes there's also this confusion where to start. But I think just starting will bring you the answers, will bring you the right journey. And I think especially in terms of health, is also this concept of not trying to follow so much rules. Like someone said it has to be like that, but if it doesn't resonate with you, you can question and then try to adapt and come to a midpoint.
Hmm.
So if you don't do anything and you really hate gym, okay, gym, we know that is good for the bones and this and that, but okay, if you're just starting out, go and dance, go and walk. If that resonates with you, go and walk, but just to start, just do something. And
Hmm.
then you start doing one thing, maybe do one or two workouts, and then you start feeling a bit stronger. And then I think it just taking easy, but be in the journey, not from the outside like I'm never doing anything. No, if you're doing once or twice a week, you are doing something, and then you keep
Hmm.
moving in the direction of optimal or peak performance, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. More isn't better. Better is better, and better leads to more. Hmm.